he said, no, you must read the novel. Narsingh is an old friend, so I obliged. And then he sent the novel right away. But I asked him whether I should speak in Telugu or in English. He insisted that I should speak in English. So that's why I'm speaking in English. Second, and I had a condition. I said that I'll speak about the Telugu novel, not about the English translation. So he said, fine, go ahead and do that. Because I believe that those of us who know the languages, we should try to read the literature of the languages in those languages, rather than in translation. There's nothing against translation. I myself am a translator. I translated quite good. I translated Gadar, Barora and others. Okay, years ago. So, translation is something that is not my cup of tea for this particular talk. And I'll be talking in English and try to jump into Telugu now and then because the context is of that kind. Ashok Kumar has taken up a theme which is very ancient. The theme in particular is the relation between man and animal. But it is not any kind of animal. It is one particular kind of animal. The bear. The bear, probably many of you know, is the oldest animal with which the human, not the human really, but the pre-human also confronted. The relation between animal, especially the bear, and something that turned out to be a human in subsequent millennia, this relationship goes back to what is called Paleolithic age, 50,000–60,000 years ago. Archaeological researchers show us that in the caves one finds bears, bear skulls, bear mandibles, jaws, bear bones. Bear become an object, a cult object. So there used to be bear cults also. They still exist. In Siberia, you would certainly come across cultures which are still in existence, which actually worship bears. There's a very strange kind of relationship between man and the bear. And this has something to do with Telangana. I'll come to that in a minute. There's a very long Paleolithic connection between bear cults and human beings. There's a kind of enigmatic relation. Sometimes they worship them, but they also kill them. But the killing does not take place in an easy way. There's an elaborate ritual involved in killing the bear. The bear is kept, the bear's body is offered. In fact, there is a famous Finnish epic called Kalevala. In that, there is a bear song. The bear song is actually, there is a request to the bear in a song. And the request says, please, permit us to, please, why don't you give us piece by piece of your body so that we can swallow it, we can enjoy it. So there's a, bear rituals are very strange. They're still in existence in many of the cultures. That bear, when the bear dies, it is buried, mourning takes place, dances take place. But what is stunning, I've never come across in the archaeological researches which Ashok Kumar points out, and this is an enigmatic thing again. He says that when a bear kills a man, it just crushes the skull. But when a bear kills, it's from folk wisdom, folklore, or folk memory. He says that when a bear crushes a female, actually bear mates with the female after the death. This could be probably one reason why there is a kind of antagonistic relation with the bear in the Paleolithic culture or Neolithic cultures. Thousands and thousands of years ago, this bonding has gone on between bear and human being. Many cultures tend to think that the bear is a kind of relationship between man and the spirit of the mountains, spirit of the forest. And then divinity and animality, that is God and animal, are largely connected in non-Christian cultures. Christianity does not connect animal with God, only human with God it connects. That's why relationship to animals is of a very different kind. Now let me point out, many of you who are here are already familiar. We have a wonderful bear story in one of the most powerful Puranas. Java Purana deals with the bear. Everybody knows in Telangana that's so crucial, so important. Java Purana deals, the whole Java Purana story is the story of an ancestor. Bears in Siberian culture also were called, they were never called bears. They were called grandfather, fur father, or father. These are the kind of words that were used. In Java Purana, the characters keep on saying, Tata, oh Tata Ram. So he is considered a grandfather. So there is a very strange kind of relationship, very important kind of relationship between the bear and the human being. Well, what does Ashok Kumar do with this theme? He does this theme, he takes up this theme and does a wonderful kind of work, very interesting kind of work he does. What does he do? He is trying to sketch thickly the relationship between man and the animal. And the title itself captures this relationship. Jigri is not an Indian word. Jigri is a Persian word. And jigri does not mean heart. Actually, jigri means liver. Jigri means liver. Jigri does not mean heart. But in literary language, in literary symbolism, it is connected with heart. Cordiality, affection, compassion. These are the terms that are used. But it seems to me that there is a strange kind of relationship between jigri and again Telangana literary cultures. In Indian languages, in Sanskrit or in Indian languages, we do not use Western anatomy to talk about our body parts. When we say liver, in Sanskrit for instance, we call it Udara or Garbha. Now Udara has two meanings, as many of you know. Udara is both, it's something belly as well as womb. It represents something that has to be fed with food, but it is also something in which something can be sheltered. Right? Udara is both. Rupodara is Bhima. He has the wolf's belly. And at the same time, Sahodara is the one who shares the same womb. Sahodari shares the same womb. So it has two meanings. It is both womb as well as it is belly, which has to be filled with food. Now, jigri means a certain kind of bonding, a certain kind of affectionate bodily bonding outside the body. This is a very strange thing. And you come across in this, and especially Ashok Kumar deals with that. That word is a crucial word for the entire novella that he has written. That's why I'm spending a little time talking about this. And I want to connect this to something else that is there in Telangana literary idiom. You will come across that. Not just in Telangana, you will also come across this. Everybody will remember these lines I'm reading. Jigri is Atmiyata, a certain kind of Akyayata, Tanmayatva, and there is a certain kind of relationship outside the body but bodily relationship. That's what one comes across. You will, I'm sure everybody will remember these lines. Pallekullo, Tallikemo, Padukalado, Begu Kadelindi. You will remember this is Sri Sri. That is the word. Begu has an extraordinary significance in Telangana writings. Right? If you remember Hindu Amasanade, Ora Chagumadi, Gadar song, you will come across that Begu Denchukar Putuna Bidori Netazamtana. Right? So Begu has a very strange kind of relationship. Also, again, Gadar, Vadanal, Patalo, you will come across that it's a when the boy is killed in a false encounter, mother's womb, the umbilical cord starts disturbing her. So this is something that is there, it's a part of Kavi Samaya, as they say in Sanskrit. So that is very strongly there in Indian culture, and also particularly in Telangana. Begu Anante, that affective relationship is something that one comes across. We know that, I don't need to tell you, many of you are writers here. Now, Ashok Kumar plays on that. I think Jigri plays on that. This is an extraordinarily important kind of conceit that he uses in order to talk about the relationship between the animal and the human. You know what happens in this novella. Already other people have talked about it. I'll talk very briefly about this. It's an extraordinary relation between the animal, this Paleolithic relationship that continues even to this day in the villages. That one comes across in the relationship between Imam and Shadul. Shadul treats Imam, Imam treats Shadul. Shadul is the name of a god. It can be given to animals here in this culture. So, the entire story, 20 years of life, this effective bonding that has existed for 20 years, that bonding, that relationship gets destroyed, gets vitiated in a matter of 10 days. 20 years, 10 days. 10 days life actually turns it completely topsy-turvy and destroys the relationship. The novel structure is of a very interesting kind. Many of you have read the novel. I certainly want you to read the Telugu novel. You can also read the English, those who do not know Telugu. I would prefer those of you who know Telugu should read the Telugu novel. The novel has a very strange structure. It has actually 5 acts. 5 acts and 5 reminiscences. The novel doesn't run linearly. It runs in a non-linear fashion. It begins in the present, but then there is a reminiscence, there is a flashback. 5 acts and 5 reminiscences. So, all the literature students know that a novel or a work of art conceived in 5 acts has a tragic structure. This novella has a kind of tragic structure. Why does this tragedy take place? At the very beginning, when the mother, Bibama, talks affectionately about this one, she says that Chand, her son, was born in her womb. She says that I love Shardul more than Chand because I need to bring up this fellow for 20 years. Only then he is going to be useful to me. Whereas this bear is going to be helpful to me, is going to be useful to me from within 6 months. He is going to be helpful to me. Then he says, I love Shardul more than I love my own child. This is the kind of relationship, maternal affection, right? That umbilical cord, that connectivity between the animal and the human that existed for such a long time. But that gets vitiated. Why? Imam says, there's a lovely sentence, and Ashok Kumar captures that whole argument, entire argument of the novel in this line. He says that Adi Jantu Gada. Okala kashtamni dochukodu. Veedu manishi puttuka putte. Chand. Veedu manishi puttuka putte. Manishi ante swartham kada. He combines the registers in language, in use of language, Ashok Kumar. Anyway, it's not entirely Telangana, it's not correct to say that it's entirely Telangana, but there's a mixture of registers. Literary language has to be like that. Gadar also, one can demonstrate that Gadar cannot write just simply in Telangana, but he does a most creative kind of mixture of different kind of languages. Veedu manishi puttuka putte. Manishi ante swartham kada. That's the line that captures the entire argument. Actually, that gives us the clue, the vitiation of the relationship between the maternal bonding, the paternal affection, and something else, the selfishness that actually comes in the way. What is very striking about this novel is that those conditions, those causes, those issues which actually incite and then encourage that selfishness, these are all in the background. Ashok Kumar skillfully captures that, handles that. He does not, as a good writer, he does not actually foreground them. They are always in the background. It's only narrated subsequently after the meeting with the police inspector, after the meeting with others. These kind of things come. They're all in the background. They don't come into the foreground at all. It's a very subtle way of handling. It just touches it and then moves away. The political conditions under which the relationships are being initiated.